Hello everybody and welcome back to Audio Analysis Theater, where we look at the good, the bad, and the ugly of the audio drama community. I know it's been a while, but let's just say I've had a few things in the work that you'll find out soon enough. For today, however, we're going to be looking at a very spooky audio drama for this month of Halloween. The audio drama in question involves many tricks and treats and is one that'll keep you right on the seat. Today we will be looking at TheLostNarrator's Truth Be Told. Will it stand the test of time, or will it fall flat on its face? Let's find out in today's Audio Analysis Theater. So as always, for those who know, we judge each category from 4 to 6 sections: story, audio, themes and techniques, characters, visuals, and songs. So as always on Audio Analysis Theater, let's start off by going over the story as well as what kind of work technically this is. Truth Be Told is technically a fanfic reading, but it's also presented in an audio play format. Audio plays, as discussed previously on this channel, are works generally hybrids of multiple different pieces. They're not necessarily audiobooks, nor are they audio dramas or radio dramas, but they're kind of a combination blend of all of them. And I'm not saying that Lost Narrator and others are not fanfic readers. They definitely do read fanfics, but they create more audio plays and dramatizations of the work than just an audiobook or reading a fanfic directly. And with categorization out of the way, let's move on to the story. When Pinky finds a weird bump on her back, she starts to wonder what it could be and goes to the hospital. After a series of events and strange occurrences, the town of Ponyville is changing, with little black lines that seem to be the root of it. What are these little black lines, and what are their intent? Find out in Truth Be Told. And with that, we move on to our first category: audio. In audio, we're looking for nice, clear quality mics. We want emoting and that the voice actors are different, not a person voicing most if not all the cast. In an audio play work, we want them to have multiple different voices, having distinct sounds, seeming to be clear that there is no two people voicing the same character, and if there is one person voicing more than one character, that it doesn't sound like it. How does Lost Narrator's Truth Be Told fare up? Impressively, with a 10 out of 10. I must say that like a lot of Lost Narrator's work, the audio quality is gorgeous. It's descriptive. The sound effects are brilliant. Many voice actors are used. The lines flow incredibly. The dialogue is natural and everybody fits. Every role is on T. Now this will relate to story, which the story does come from Obabscribbler. Hats off to you as well. But I have to say, for what the audio is presented and how it sounds, Lost Narrator, this was a fantastic work and one well worth the wait. You should be incredibly proud of yourself. And if many individuals are iffy on that this is an old piece and it's this good, then you should all look at her newer stuff. You will not be disappointed. Moving on though, we're going to look at the next section. Story focuses on how well the story is written. Is it paced out and explanatory where it needs to be? Is the author of the series ensuring that the themes and genres match the series? Is it clear and well explained in the first 2 episodes? Are skips properly shown? All of these will need to work for an audio play. And does Obabscribbler do this? Is Snow white when it falls from the sky? Because yes, she did wonderfully. Obabscribbler made a story that got a 10 out of 10 from me. This series was well made, very interesting and thrilling with every page. While I had an idea a little bit about what might be going on, it wasn't until it was explained at the end that really did the message hit home. And the disturbing aspect of seeing Pinkie Pie change throughout this whole time was thrilling and unbelievable. Every sentence and every action fit incredibly well. Obabscribbler, you should be incredibly impressed and proud at how amazing you did. There's nothing more I need to say except for everybody should go read or at least listen to this audio play to see the glorious story unfold. But story is one thing, characters are another. In characters, we're looking for clear sounding characters to the audience. We are looking that characters are described clearly to the audience in dialogue and such. We are looking for villains who have reasonable and legit plans, characters given a variety of walks in life, and canon characters accurate to their show selves. So does Truth Be Told fit? Kind of. It gets a 9 out of 10 because while the characters are very good, there are some parts of it that don't exactly transition well. Primarily, the description of the characters to the audience. Most of them are canon characters. We know them well. But there are other characters like the doctor and other nurses and such who are not described as well. This isn't a bad thing per se, as it does allow us to kind of picture in our own mind what the doctor might be like, but when there are visuals on screen, that's kind of again a bit distracting. We'll get into that later, but I'll put it that the characters could have been described a bit more. As for the villain's plan, well, it was sneaky. And it was sneaky, I should say this. The Pinkie Pie / surprise ending seemed a bit too hard to understand. Whether it was just too much at one time, or it might have been a bit of the enunciation in the audio, it just was hard to understand. Now that's no fault to anyone else. It just sometimes happens that way and that's okay. But this is something that for future works should be looked into, especially when considering villains and canon characters into the series. Moving on to our next category though, we hit themes and techniques. Themes and techniques, we're looking at things such as background music, clear editing, video quality, when sound effects are used, the genre and age matching with what the story is placed, and if it follows the proper audio drama, radio drama, etc. theme that it has been classified as, and if it follows proper techniques considering which work it is. So, does Lost Narrator do this? She pretty much nearly hits a bullseye with a 9.5 out of 10. Everything in here is terrific. The background is great, the editing is amazing, the sound effects and techniques are gorgeous. There's just one issue it had, and it is small. I should say this. It's very small, and honestly it can sometimes be skipped, but I have seen in a lot of works it's used. That being figuring out what side of the room each of them are on. This technique allows you so that you can figure out if a character is speaking and you can hear it from the left ear or on the left side of the computer from the speaker, and the other character sounds from the right side of earbuds, headphones, or the right speaker. It allows you to be more in the world. Again, it's not the biggest cardinal sin in themes and techniques, and this has improved in future works The Lost Narrator has done, but I would still suggest to keep an eye on this to help for immersion in stories and other such works. Finally, because The Lost Narrator did not have any vocals, our final section is visuals. Now, I should say, visuals in audio drama are always picky. But when they are in audio dramas, you're looking for pictures to, at most, be 1 to 4 pictures per scene. Only exceptions being a storybook-like setting, though even then you can put big, large, general pictures to summarize the scenes. They should stay in the same style, clear and appealing, match what's going on screen to an extent, and should not move or be animated. Now, everybody has their own thing for visuals, so I should say this theme is up in the air. This category can be used or ignored, and honestly, it's okay if either happens. So how well did Lost Narrator do? Again, an almost near bullseye with 9.5 out of 10. The amount of pictures per scene is terrific with very little per scene. Each of the pictures summarize what's happening in there, and therefore less time was needed to gather them all up. The visuals do not take away from the listener's personal experience, and though one episode came very close to having more pictures in it than they needed, it's kind of forgiven in a sense because there's a bit more action that was going on. However, again, I would highly advise to avoid these scenes, and honestly, considering most of the work provided had very little pictures in it, I'll let those 2 scenes slide. The thing that prevented it from getting a bullseye, however, was the visuals didn't always match what's going on in screen. Instead of summarizing what happens in the general scene with a general idea about how the characters react and each one representing that in the picture, or just showing Pinkie Pie in the hospital beds a lot of times, we just see a blank room. Now, I'm not a lost narrator, and I don't know if perhaps she was doing this so that you could focus solely on the words and just see the backgrounds to avoid describing that, or if it was easier to just draw a simple background, I don't know. And again, visuals aren't a big part of a focus on an audio drama, play, or any of those. But I will say that if you are going to include visuals, it's best to just do a general scene. And I will admit, future works The Lost Narrator have done has done just that. So again, hats off to you, Lost Narrator. You have evolved your work and improved it so much since this work, but considering how amazing this work was, you should keep it up. And before I keep going into gushing about how much I love this work, let's get the final scores up. After calculating it all together, The Lost Narrators and Obabscribblers, truth be told, gets a whopping 48 out of 50, or 96%. Unbelievable job, you two! I have to say that personally, Lost Narrator is one of my favorite audio works. Now that's not saying that Magpie Pony or Obab is not good either. I love them, and honestly, they're some of my top 7 favorites in the Brony community. But what I like about Lost Narrator's work is just the incredible work she does with themes, techniques, emoting, and audio. This is gorgeous audio, and I highly suggest for all audio drama fans, enthusiasts, and people who just want to hear an incredible story to go to Lost Narrator's channel and see the glorious work she makes. And honestly, from what I'm guessing, she's probably gonna have something pretty good cooked up for Halloween this year. But for now, I think it's time for us to sign off. So, for your hint of what the next audio work's going to be in, we're going to be doing another spooky work. One that will chill you to the bone and terrify you beyond belief. But one I suggest that anyone who's got a very weak stomach to not listen into. Because this next work we'll be looking at is Goody Serenade's Silent Ponyville. Will it leave you curled up, terrified with a nightlight on at night, or will it just be a walk in the park? Let's find out next time on Audio Analysis Theater. Until then, this has been Silver Starling, hoping your travels are light and your road is safe until we meet again.